Welcome to Lessons Learned Along the Way. This is a short video series that features real experts who have practical, street-smart guidance and advice for business owners, all with the idea of helping them shorten their time frame to success. I'm Theriault, your host from Allied Executives. I'm with Sussner today, from Sussner Design Company, and today I'm grateful to spend a few moments with Derek. He started Sussner Design almost exactly 20 years ago.
On Sunday,
to the day,
Yep.
Which is incredible. So congratulations
Thank you.
on that. That's no small feat. Derek and his company help organizations in a couple of different ways. One, by helping them clarify their message, but then also matching that with creative, stunning visual brand identities that match the quality of the work they do and the services they provide. So welcome, Derek.
Thank you.
It's fun to get the chance to pick your brain a little bit today on behalf of the business community. Why don't you describe for me, who you work with, and what is it your clients, when they come to you, what do they most want? What are they looking for?
It's a great question. I think that for the most part, every single client that we work with that comes to us, ultimately they're looking to grow their business. That sometimes they're specifically looking to increase sales. Sometimes they're looking to attract brand new customers. Sometimes they're looking to find or leverage the competitive edge that will help their business. So we help them achieve those things through branding and brand identity work.
Why isn't it happening to them before they come to you?
The reason they come to us, the thing that's getting in the way from them achieving that business growth that we can help with is usually that their brand is stuck. They're getting lost in the crowd. One of the things that we've heard that referred to it as is, well, they may have the best products, the best services, leading edge technology. They're the products and services that are their industry's best kept secret. So no matter how great they're doing, no matter how wonderful they're doing, there's something about their brand that's either preventing them from being found, preventing them from standing out, or most common, preventing them from looking any different than everybody else in their space. So a lack of differentiation is how we would say it in our industry speak.
What do you think is the reason that people have such a hard time describing their own businesses? They're in it every day, they do the work, they're generally experts in what they do, but yet they struggle with this piece. Why is that?
I think it's a great question. I think you just said it. They're too close to it. They're too close to it, and they don't understand how to do it correctly. I think one of the things that we're all guilty of, all of us, myself included, over the years, is listing the things that we do. We do this, we do that, here's how we do it, here's what we're experts in, we, and you end up just listing a bunch of facts instead of engaging your potential customer into a conversation that lets you figure out what it is they actually need or want, or what their problem is, and then adjusting all of your expertise into a way that they can then see and understand how it is you can be of service to them.
So I know you guys leverage a couple of cool tools and approaches to help clients start to identify a little bit better their story, if you will, to be able to talk to that you framework that you just mentioned, which I think is great. Can you share how you use these tools in your practice, or what these tools are, and why they're so effective?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I owe you a debt of gratitude for introducing me
me?
to Donald Miller's Building a Story Brand book in the first place.
It's a proverbial textbook.
It came directly out of one of our peer groups where we were having a conversation around being able to better answer the question, what do you do? What's your business do? One of the questions that we'll pose now to our prospective customers is, if I pulled 5 different random people throughout your organization and I said, what do you guys do? Would they all answer it the same way? And B, would they answer it in a way that would effectively communicate with your prospects from a sales standpoint? So we incorporated Story Brand, which is simply a framework to help clarify your message, which ultimately lets you create better marketing materials. We implemented that in our own business and saw instant results. So I was so inspired and so impressed by the paradigm shift that is behind it that I ended up going on to becoming a certified story brand guide, so that the messaging component of the brand identities that we help create for businesses to help them stand out is just that much stronger.
Now, I think, and obviously I'm a big fan of that. We've implemented that in our own business, and we've seen an impact as well. But also, you're tying that into the visual, the brand identity piece too, which is what the organization is really founded on. And
Correct.
20 years of, I mean, if you look around the office, I mean, the type of stuff that they've produced for clients is gorgeous, it's beautiful, and I've seen some of the work firsthand. How are you marrying your work you do with the identity stuff with the messaging piece, and where do those come together? It seems like it'd be a nice fit, but how do you guys make that work?
Just some general confusion around what brand means and how different people use it.
Completely agree with
So
that.
for us, first of all, a brand is not your logo. A brand, ultimately, I think it was Harry Beckwith that said a brand is a promise that you're making your customers. It's your reputation, and a brand is how people think of you. So there's three components that make up a brand. That's it. One is messaging. It's the words that allow you to quickly and honestly connect with your customers and your audience. Two, it's all of the visuals that go with that, which do include your logo, your colors, your graphics,
Sure.
your images, your photography. And then three, it's all the ways that your customers experience your brand. That could be your website.
Okay.
That could be your interior environment, graphics. It could be your product packaging that wraps up your product. So any way that any customer comes into touch with you or your brand, you have an opportunity to control that experience. And the messaging component is arguably one of the most critical. If people don't understand what you do and how you can help them, then you've lost an opportunity.
I believe it's been affectionately described as giving a monkey a bullhorn. So,
Yeah, I think there's a bullhorn on the cover of the book too.
right, no accident.
Yeah.
So, Derek, I've read you have anywhere between 2 and 4 seconds
Yep.
when someone lands on your website to be able to compellingly and clearly communicate
Yep.
what you do. How do you recommend people do that?
Sure. By being intentional, by taking charge. You have an opportunity to control how people perceive you. I don't think, one of the things that I think we run into is one of the exercises we go through, or one of the questions that we ask is, how are you currently perceived in your market? How do your employees and your staff perceive your brand, and how would they describe that in adjectives? Then we shift to, now how do you want to be perceived? You have an opportunity to create how you want to be perceived by your audience, instead of letting your audience create that for you. So if you're perceived as irrelevant, stodgy, tired, boring, technical, expensive, but what you really want to be perceived as is fun, whimsical, welcoming, and approachable, you have the opportunity to control all of that and exactly how, through the messaging and through all the visuals, how your customers will perceive you. If you don't, they're going to label you anyway.
And that's where the messaging comes in.
Exactly.
So Derek, when prospects come to you or you engage with a company for the first time, I'm sure you see the same mistakes being made, or people getting stuck in the same areas over and over and over again. What are like a handful of things that that you see when
Yep.
when you typically walk into an organization and maybe struggling to stand out from the crowd or to grow sales like they're hoping to, or as quickly as they'd like to, and then what are a couple of things they should be doing immediately to fix that?
If I take a look at your website, and your website's, I would say if it's 3 years old or older, I will be able to tell. I think the average lifespan of a website's 3 to 5 years. If you can stretch it out to 5, you're doing pretty good, but
Wow.
the technology changes pretty quick. Secondly, on the website specifically, I'm looking for a call to action. I'm looking for you to tell me what you want me to do.
So this could
to
be
engage. Call me.
book a meeting. Call me.
That's it.
How do you feel
Just
about
something
learn
simple.
more?
Yep. You said earlier, how do you get somebody started? What's that first super simple step that you can ask somebody to take?
Okay.
The visual identity is something that I was trained in. So when I'm looking at color palettes, type, logos, symbols, photography, things that all create your visual identity, that's a really easy piece for me to assess if it's tired, if it's relevant, if it's no longer on trend, if it's no longer representing the level of, say, sophistication or professionalism or innovation that your company and your products sell. That's an easy translation for me.
You know, and a quick clarification. I mean, you know, I've done it personally where, you know, nowadays, you know, the popularity of the websites where great visuals as you enter in,
Yep.
everybody struggles with what to put there.
Right.
What say you about that? I mean, what sort of imagery should someone be seeing as they walk into a website as it relates to your business? Should it be stuff about your products? Should it be your buildings?
It should be how what you do solves your customer's problem. So back to StoryBrand, the third thing that I would say I look at right away is how you talk about yourself. Can I quickly and clearly understand exactly what it is you do without being done in too clever of a way? One of the things that we're all guilty of, back to the listing of we do this, we do that, the paradigm shift that StoryBrand teaches is positioning your customer as the hero in the story instead of you. When you list all the things that you do without engaging your customer, you effectively position yourself as the hero in that story.
I can see that.
Your brand is not the hero. Your brand needs to be the guide, and the guide is simply the person that helps the customer get what they want. So all of the authority that you list, all we do is reposition that through an exercise that makes sure that we're telling your customers how what you do solves their problem.
Love that.
And that type of messaging, whether that's on your walls, I would argue that's as important as your mission, vision, core values, and other things that you see on websites. And but the first thing that I should understand when I go to your website is what you do and how does what you do solve what I need.
Love it. Love it. Do you recommend people start with message first in that case and then cascade it across all their
I found that
communication vehicles?
Yep.
And then you can match visual with the kind of the messaging or the tone that they want?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would argue that is the most successful way to start. You can have a great looking brand. You can have a killer logo that you're proud enough to tattoo on your arm, but if you don't have the message that backs up why that logo is successful, it's going to fall
So
short.
if people can't tell what you do and whether they can see themselves in your story,
Exactly.
what you're saying is very little chance all the good looking fancy stuff is actually going to end up, you know, creating what you want out of it, which is some sort of next action or an opportunity to talk about doing some help for that client.
Exactly.
Got
Yep.
it. So if you were to just, I mean, a real simple session here,
Right.
when I open up your homepage of your website, my website, anybody's website, what should, like, you know, in the blinding flashing of the obvious, what is it we need to communicate so we capture their attention in those first 2 to 3 seconds?
Sure. Donald Miller calls it the GRUNT test. It has to pat the top area of your website has to do 3 things. It has to tell you exactly what it is that I do.
Okay.
It has to tell you how what I do helps you, and it has to call you to action. It has to let you know what's my buy now button and how do you engage with me
Got it.
at the highest level. Below that is all the supportive stuff, and there's a cadence to how to properly go through that to best continue that conversation with the visitor on your website. But out of the gates, people have to, if they're looking at you and 2 other competitors, if they're looking at allied executives and 2 other executive peer groups, that's your opportunity in 3 to 4 seconds
To get that message straight, help them see
differentiate.
themselves in your story,
to stand out. Yep.
be able to help them raise their hand and say, hey, that's me, that's what I need.
Yep, and to be intentional. To say, I relate to
Got
that,
it.
I can see myself with that.
Got it. I love
Yeah.
that. That's helpful. That'll help a lot of people. Good. You mentioned results and some of the impact you have made, even though it's difficult at times to measure direct ROI
Yep.
in a identity project or exercise or a branding exercise. But you guys have been able to create some pretty outstanding results. Can you share kind of how you do that, and,
Yep.
and you know how you measure or how you view, or more importantly, how your clients view those results and the impact, and then what some of those, some examples of what those are.
Well, first I would say that I am fully aware that in helping a company do anything, there are a lot of players involved. There are a lot of components. So if we come in and help somebody rebrand their company, they have a staff of team that's involved with this. There may be other outside experts, and we're just one piece of that pie. However, to be associated with any sort of success that our clients are able to achieve, that is our ultimate goal. That's more important than winning industry awards. That ultimate success is what keeps us in business. We've had clients, we had a sporting goods company that we rebranded, refreshed their brand, and re-energized how their products looked at retail because their audience changed. And 1 year at retail, after relaunching that product, their consumer product sales were up almost 20%. And a year after that, they cashed out the whole organization and sold it to a private equity firm.
Wow.
Which continues on today.
So that's real. That's EBITDA right there. That's
We
real
had
money.
a printing company that rebranded, they believed their customers didn't see them as being current and relevant any longer. 5 years after rebranding that printing company, they doubled in size.
Wow.
And a fun one for us recently, a local consulting firm that we just rebranded, has now 3 years in a row been on Minneapolis St. Paul Business Journal's Fast 50 for 3 years running, and just their office space that we just helped apply this new brand to was just featured in their Cool Offices article series.
That's
So
incredible.
that's highlighting
real
them.
stuff.
So that's their award. They get the glory. They're featured in that article. We're not, but that's the success
You're the guy.
that helps us get the referral from them to somebody else.
Love that. That's outstanding. Having been in professional services most of my life, I think a lot of times this all sounds good, and I'd say the clients and prospects agree with that as well. They know they need to do something, but it boils down to the art of the start and actually getting them off
Right.
the dime. I mean, how do you guys help people take a step forward and start to deal with or rectify or improve the messaging, the brand, the combination, or the brand identity, the combination of the two, and just get moving? What's that look like? Because I know the inertia to do what's comfortable is real.
What's the call to action?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
We've over the 20 years of working with all the various clients and corporations and brands that we've helped either build their brand or oftentimes refresh or re-energize their brand to make sure it's relevant. We've leveraged that 20 years of experience to hone in a really relatively simple process that we walk customers through regardless of your industry, your product, or the size of your company. And this same 5-step process has been really helpful in helping us achieve success. We talk a lot about impact. We talk a lot about results. And while I don't know that there are any hard statistics in the graphic design industry that speak to ROI, the impact is undeniable. We've seen some amazing results. So part of that process for us is starting with a conversation about your challenges or your opportunities in some case, so that we understand what things may be most helpful to you, and then we'll walk you through a handful of very brief case studies that take real life examples of real clients and show you a glimpse of what each of those 5 steps looked exactly like for them and the successes that led to.
Okay, I love that. Clients have this issue all the time, and obviously you've been in business 20 years, done a lot of great work. I know the great work that you do, and your passion for doing it. If somebody wanted to take a next step with you guys, what does that look like? How do they do that? Where do they start?
Go to our website, click on the Contact Us button, or give me a call.
I love it.
Yeah, we'll set up a meeting. It goes unsaid that first consultation is free, and it just gives us an opportunity to have a conversation to better understand what problems you may be up against. We can do an initial review of your current materials and figure out what pieces and parts might be the best solution for you. It could be just a messaging exercise. You might not need a new brand identity, a new logo, new color palette. You might just need a little bit of clarity in how you talk about what you do.
Okay. So, hey, Derek, thank you for all the insights you provided today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is fun. So, again, Sussner Design Company, Derek Sussner, messaging, brand identity, get your business to stand out from the crowd, start capturing what you deserve for the good work you do. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Cheers. Cheers to 20 years.
Yeah, cheers to 20 years. I love that.